Have you ever stopped to think about salvation? Is it just a single moment, like a one-time decision? Or is it something more? Well, today we're going to dive into the Gospel of John's perspective, which paints this incredible picture of an unbreakable chain of divine events. We'll be using Dr. Robert Peterson's fantastic analysis to see exactly how each and every link connects. So yeah, how does this whole process really work? According to John's Gospel, it's not some random haphazard thing. Nope, it's laid out as a very deliberate five-step sequence, what's been called a golden chain of divine action, right from the very beginning to the very end. And the very first link in this chain? Well, it's a divine partnership. Before anything else even happens, you have the Father and the Son working in perfect, absolute unison. Dr. Peterson calls this a binarian harmony, and honestly, it's the engine that drives the entire process forward. Think of it like a perfectly executed relay race. Seriously, the Father runs the first leg, and then the Son runs the second, and each of them has a totally distinct but absolutely crucial role. Their actions are so in sync that there's never, ever a dropped baton on the journey to eternal life. It's seamless. So you might be asking, who makes the first move? Well, John's Gospel is crystal clear on this one. The entire chain kicks off with the Father's initiative. He's the one who forges that very first link. And here is that chain, laid out for us to see. Just look at the flow here. The Father gives, and he draws. Then the person responds by believing. And right at that point, the Son takes over, keeping them secure and ultimately raising them up. See how each divine action just leads perfectly into the next step? It's incredible. Okay, but what does it mean that the Father draws someone? According to John chapter 6, this isn't just some casual invitation, like, hey, you should check this out. It's what theologians call an effectual drawing. It's a divine call so powerful, so compelling that it actually ensures the person will come to believe. It's like the guaranteed success is built right into the system. And this is where things get really interesting. Because just when we think we've got this drawing thing figured out, the Gospel of John throws us a major curveball. It presents a second, totally different kind of drawing that at first glance seems to create a huge contradiction. Okay, so let's break this puzzle down. In John 6, we just saw that the Father's draw is specific, targeted, and 100% effective. But then you flip over to John 12, and Jesus says that the cross will draw all people. So what's the deal? If it's for all people, does that mean it doesn't always work? Or on the other hand, does it mean that every single person is automatically saved? It kind of feels like we're stuck between a rock and a hard place here. The solution, according to Dr. Peterson's analysis, actually hinges on this one single powerful phrase. And here it is. Get this, all without distinction, not all without exception. This one little line completely reframes the whole problem and unlocks the answer. So what in the world does that mean? Well, it means the universal drawing of the cross isn't about pulling in every single individual on the planet without exception. No, instead, it's about drawing all kinds of people without distinction. It's this huge signal that the message of salvation is breaking out of its historical Jewish confines to include the Gentiles, people from every tribe and every tongue and every nation on earth. All right, let's jump now to the final link in this incredible chain. Resurrection. This is the ultimate promise, right? But just like we saw with the word drawing, John's Gospel reveals there isn't just one kind of resurrection. You guessed it, there are two. Okay, so the first one is the resurrection that is already here. This is a spiritual resurrection that happens right now in the very moment a person believes. They pass from a state of spiritual death to spiritual life. Then you have the second one, the resurrection that is not yet here. This is the future, physical resurrection, when our bodies are literally raised from the tomb on the last day. Okay, but hold on. There's one final, absolutely crucial twist to this whole thing. If salvation is this divine chain of grace, this totally free gift, then why does the Bible also talk about a final judgment that's based on our deeds? And this is a question that can really, really trip people up. It seems like a total paradox, right? On the one hand, salvation is a gift. It's free. On the other hand, we're told we're going to be judged by what we do. How can both of those things possibly be true at the exact same time? Well, the answer is actually so beautifully simple. Our deeds are not the cause of our salvation. They are the evidence of it. Think about it like this. A healthy apple tree doesn't start producing apples so it can become an apple tree. It produces apples because it is an apple tree. It's just what it does. In the exact same way, good deeds are the natural, inevitable fruit that grows from a life that has already been changed by grace. They're simply the outward proof of an inward reality. Which brings us to the final and maybe most challenging takeaway. If our actions are the fruit that reveals the root of our beliefs, then we all kind of have to ask ourselves, right? What kind of fruit is my life producing? What does it truly say about what I believe? And that is the power of John's golden chain. Thanks so much for exploring it with us.